Let's spend a couple of seconds talking about how Photoshop PSD files can be incorporated into a DreamWeaver layout. Now, for those of you picking this up from here, just go to your lesson downloads folder on the lesson 14 and make the root of your website RC Photography website root. If you don't know how to do that, go back to the lesson 9 folder and it'll walk you through the steps on how to be able to set up that website. That said, we're back over here in the Files panel, and what I want to do is I want to incorporate Photoshop files in here. So I'm going to do right click and I'm going to set up a new folder, and that new folder is going to be called PSD. Now inside that lesson folder that we have for RC Photography, you'll notice that there's a PSD file in here called Banner Welcome. I want you to copy that and I want you to paste that into the website root PSD folder that you just made. Once you have that, we'll go ahead and move this out of the way, and we'll come back over to the DreamWeaver site. And we'll expand the Files panel. Just going to do a refresh just to be on the safe side and make sure that this is here. Now I can go ahead and open up the index.htm, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this welcome section here. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to go back to my files. I'm going to grab the PSD file and drag the PSD file over here. I know, it shouldn't work, but take a look. Now you have the option of taking PSD files and importing PSD files as smart objects right inside of a DreamWeaver layout. So just like before, you can specify settings for this intermediary JPEG. You can set up quality and all of the stuff that you would do on a regular file, and click OK. It's going to ask you where do you want to save kind of a temporary intermediary file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right into that PSD folder, and inside there I'm probably going to make a tmp_JPEG folder, just to kind of keep everything separate. Click Save. It's going to ask welcome banner, and there's my banner. Now notice that the graphic is a little different because it has this thing right here. Now that's the banner that I'm using for welcome to the site. I'm going to click File, Save, and I'm going to go over here in Safari to show you what it looks like. Not the best banner in the world. Could have come up with something a little bit better. It's really hard to read this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this graphic. I'm going to single click on the graphic. Notice that you can edit right here in Photoshop. Clicking on this, it'll go ahead and open up that reference graphic, the Banner Welcome PSD file. Notice that this has layers just like everything else that we do inside of Photoshop. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold on the Alt key and single click on my black and white cookie, and I'm going to select, let's just say levels for now. I'm going to select using this to make it a clipping mask, and what that's going to do is it's going to tie the levels just to that layer. And I'll grab my shadow and I'll make my shadow really, really dark. Not about that dark. I'll grab midtones and bring them in a little bit too. Once they're both in, I'm going to switch back to layers, and you'll notice that I have the levels here. And what I can do from here is just fill this mask that I have here with black by doing a Command Delete. That's what I had here as a background color. Now selecting a brush tool, I can go ahead and use my white to kind of just paint in a little bit of this area here. Make it a little darker. Not too much. I have a really low flow so that I can kind of control what that's going to look like. I could even go so far as to make this black and then kind of use a gradient that goes from black to white and does this. Oh, let's actually do it from white to black to show a little bit more of that. Finally, maybe what I'll do is I'll grab this and I'll put in a stroke, and I'll make a lighter color stroke, possibly, maybe brighter into a different color. And let me see, do something like that. I want it to be garish. I wouldn't want to keep it, but I want to be able to show that yes, you can do it. Let's go ahead and use something like that for now. Now click OK. So you could see this a little bit better. Not that much. Maybe I could even position it and get it there. Not the best, but really not giving you here a lesson on how to be able to use a banner. This is more on this part because this part's really cool. I'm going to save. I'm going to close. I'm going to minimize and come back in here. you'll notice that automatically you have a red section here. And if you hover, it tells you the original asset has been modified. We're going to have to fix that. Just right click and update from an original. Done. That is a great way for you to be able to manage some of these assets on your website by including Photoshop Smart Objects. Now, for the most part, you don't necessarily want to post these if you're doing it from a client standpoint, but this is a great way for you to be able to work on some of this stuff. It's your own personal site, and it gives you a good way to be able to kind of manipulate all of these graphics and then just right-click, update, and you're good to go. In the next lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to be able to add web widgets to this layout so that we can create some quick galleries.